Welcome to the Thrive in Fashion podcast, where we explore the role of the fashion buyer, the knowledge and skill sets required for success, and the impact of the role in your retail business. In each episode, you will learn about industry best practice and how the buyer's role is evolving in this ever-changing, fast-paced industry. And now, here is your host, a fashion industry expert with over 20 years of experience, Elisabeth MacHale.
Buying is the lifeline of retail, and success as a buyer is determined by results. Your results will depend on how well you can translate consumer trends and plan your buy accordingly. And this requires that the buyer has an insight into who the consumers are, what they buy, and why they buy. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Thrive in Fashion. I'm your host, Elisabeth MacHale, and in this episode, I outline the essential skills and metrics that define a successful fashion buyer. Whether you're an industry veteran, an aspiring fashion buyer, or just curious about what goes on behind the scenes, this episode is for you. Understanding how your performance is measured is not necessarily something that you think about when you're planning your career as a fashion buyer. You may have strong personal skills and competencies, but if you are not productive and hitting your business targets, your future value to the retail organization may be limited. Let's take a look at the following categories and the metrics or indicators that are monitored. So we're looking at sales performance, inventory management, market knowledge and forecasting, supplier relationships, and, of course, personal competencies and professional skills. First up is sales performance. And this is the most straightforward metric to measure, really, but it is incredibly important. As a fashion buyer, your primary goal is to drive sales. A below-target performance at the beginning of the season is really difficult to catch up on, which is why you need to have your deliveries on time and to launch as you have planned. So there are several indicators, the first of which is sales growth, and this metric looks at how much your sales revenue has increased in comparison to previous periods. Are you consistently growing your sales month on month or year on year? The seasonal budget indicates how much more sales the business is anticipating to grow against the previous year. And these forecasts will normally take into account market events, price hikes, or foreseeable trends that may affect consumer spending. Achieving the previous year's levels, but without reaching the current budgeted sales, may sometimes, in some circumstances, be acceptable, but performing below each of these levels is a sign that things are not right. And in my experience, the problem almost always lies in poor merchandising assortment or not communicating your value and offer to your customers. The next is the gross margin, and this is the difference between the sales revenue and the cost of goods sold. A higher gross margin means higher profitability, indicating that you're not just selling a lot of volume or a lot of quantity, but you're also making a profit. You may have a department or category that is achieving or exceeding sales targets, but if the gross profit margin is below plan, there will be some explaining to do because higher sales at a lower margin means that your products were not selling as planned in your original strategy and your price point. The sell-through rate is the percentage of inventory sold within a specific period. So a high sell-through rate is a positive sign and means that your products, whether by selection or development, are items that your customers want to buy. Remember that this percentage figure is relative to the time period being measured and, of course, the quantity that has been bought. The last indicator in this group is the ATV, or your average transaction value. And this looks at the average amount of spend per transaction. It helps in understanding your customer spending behavior and the effectiveness of any upselling strategies. But it's always important to check the ATV. For example, if you see a sudden surge in sales on a particular product. In one of my previous buying roles, when checking sales figures on a Monday morning, I might see a style that had jumped in sales until I delved further in, only to understand that the retail price had been reduced over the weekend in a number of stores where it was not selling as planned, thus contributing to the high jump in sales. Next is inventory management. And this is all about how well you handle the stock that you've bought. Effective inventory management means less wasted stock and more profit. Having too much stock is as much of a problem as having too little stock, and suggests potential issues with planned stock forecasts or perhaps changes in consumer preferences that were not anticipated. It results in having to potentially use promotions or discounts to move this excess stock, and thus your profit margin takes a hit. It's all connected. The higher the stock turn, the better your products are performing. Your sales will be strong and your customers will be happy as they are liking your products and buying at full price, and you won't have the same problems with stock building. Inventory management is really important, especially if you hit a tough trading period. Trying to manage slow sales and high stock levels is a nightmare that you want to avoid as a buyer. Your hands are tied, as your cash is tied up in stock that is not selling, and your shop floor lacks the newness it needs to draw your customers in and drive sales. The indicators that relate to inventory management are the following. The first is stock turnover ratio, and this measures how quickly that you can sell and replace inventory. Basically, how many times inventory is sold and replaced over a specific period. The higher, the better, as it indicates strong sales and effective buying. A high turnover rate suggests efficient inventory management and strong demand for your products. If the plan for stock turn is 4 and you are only achieving 3.2, it indicates that you're not meeting the planned target for how often the inventory is sold and replaced. Achieving a turnover of 3.3 instead of 4, for example, can be an indication of slow sales, meaning the products are not selling as quickly as anticipated. And this has a knock-on effect. It means that your shop floor is holding stock, which means that you have paid for this stock and it's not selling, and this will impact the cash flow negatively. If it is fashion apparel, then the longer the stock sits unsold on the shop floor, the greater the risk of the styles going out of fashion or off trend, and it can be difficult to shift even at a discounted price. It makes it difficult to bring in new stock as there is no room on the shop floor to display it. Next is OTB, or open to buy. This actually deserves a whole episode to itself, but for now I will emphasize its importance, and as a buyer you need to know how to read these numbers. This is your budget for purchasing new inventory, and proper management of OTB ensures that you're not overstocked or understocked. Well, that's the ideal. It's also where you monitor your stock on hand and your stock cover. These numbers will indicate efficient or inefficient inventory management. And the last in this section is markdown percentage. This is the percentage of revenue that is given to markdowns. The aim is to ensure that the markdowns are not excessive, as it affects the profit ultimately of the business. But every retail business sets a target of a markdown percentage, as it's impossible to sell all your stock at 100% sell-through without the need to mark down. Particularly when a product line sells down, the sizes become broken, and then it loses its presence on the sales floor. A lower markdown percentage indicates that you're buying the right products at the right quantities, they're selling through, and minimizing the need for discounts. The next group of metrics relate to market knowledge and trend forecasting. In order for those previous metrics I spoke about to work, being able to predict and respond to trends is crucial for a fashion buyer. Here are some to gauge your market knowledge and trend forecasting skills. Trend accuracy is your success rate in predicting and capitalizing on fashion trends. If your selected products or developed products frequently become bestsellers, it's a sign of good, strong trend forecasting. Timing is also important, and again, this comes back to knowing your customers and knowing when they will be ready to accept new trends. Market analysis is more than a review of what your competitors are doing. It is also about capturing market share. Comparing your performance against competitors helps you understand your position within the industry. It's important to check if you're capturing a larger share of the market or not. And customer feedback. Utilizing your customer feedback either directly or indirectly keeps you customer-centric as a buyer. Listening to and using customer feedback and data to inform your buying decisions contribute to building successful product assortments. Next is your vendor and supplier relationships. Having strong relationships with vendors and suppliers are key to securing best products and prices. And here's how you can measure this. The first is vendor performance, where you evaluate the quality, reliability, and delivery performance of your suppliers. Are they consistently meeting your expectations? They are just as invested in the successful outcome of your sales and products as you are. You can also measure your success in negotiating favourable terms, prices, and conditions with your suppliers. Better deals mean better margins. And having a range and diversity of suppliers can mitigate risks and offer more variety. This is an important aspect of a resilient supply chain. Next, we come to personal competencies and professional skills. A successful fashion buyer must possess a range of personal and professional skills. These are actually skills and competencies that you develop as you progress in your career. For fashion buying, there are a few key ones. The first is analytical skills. This is your ability to analyze data, trends, and financial reports to make informed decisions, and it is really crucial for buying and inventory management. Strong negotiation skills can significantly impact your profitability. Being able to secure the best terms, prices, and conditions with your suppliers is key. And skill negotiation can also foster positive long-term relationships with your supplier and help in obtaining products at competitive prices and ensuring better margins and value for the company. Not only that, there are times where you can get into a really tricky situation and your relationship or strong relationship with your supplier is something that you may need to fall back on. Effective communication skills are crucial for fashion buyers to ensure clear and effective collaboration with both internal and external partners and suppliers. Within the organization, it's important to ensure that your marketing, sales, merch, and supply chain teams are aligned with your buying strategy. Clear communication reduces the risk of misunderstandings and costly errors and helps to accurately convey your market trends, product requirements, and quality standards. When it comes to decision making, the fashion industry moves really quickly, and so must you. Your competence in making timely and well-informed purchasing decisions is key to ensuring profitability of your products. Being adaptable to the changing market conditions and trends is also another great trait. A buyer should be flexible and responsive because fashion is ever evolving. Having a deep understanding of product knowledge and overall fashion landscape really helps to make informed decisions that will resonate with your target market. Skills in managing and optimizing your buying budget and staying within budget while securing the best products is another critical skill. Lastly, I just want to mention the broader impact of the buyer's role within the organization. This can mean your effectiveness in working across other departments, so cross-functional collaboration with your marketing and merchandising teams to achieve your business goals, along with innovative initiatives, which means introducing new ideas or products or processes that drive business growth. Innovation can set you apart in the competitive market. And one more thing, as you do develop in your career and progress from a buyer to a senior buyer and head up a buying team, it's really important that you keep in mind your people and how you're going to develop and coach and mentor those junior buyers who will be the leaders for tomorrow. So from sales performance to inventory management, market knowledge, vendor relationships, and personal competencies and strategic impact, each of these are the areas that play a crucial role in shaping a successful fashion buyer and the metrics with which they are measured. Understanding and focusing on these metrics can help you to excel in your role and contribute significantly to your organization's success. That's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or want to share your thoughts, please leave a comment below or reach out to us at hello@thriveinfashion.com.
Thank you for listening to today's
Until
episode.
next time.
If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share the show. For more of Elisabeth's industry tips and to learn more about how you can develop your buying skills, visit thriveinfashion.com. There you can find show notes for this episode and every episode. Also, register for the Thrive in Fashion program and sign up for weekly news delivered straight to your inbox. Until next time.